Welcome back to our discussion here at AV Veterans Talk with Mike, Dennis, and Gerry. We're back here at AV Veterans Talk talking to Gerry, Dennis, and Mike here. And I was reading a couple of pieces, and it seems like I'm never short of stuff. None of us are short of subject matter pouring in on our lives, especially when you're a military advocate, of making sure that the perception of the military man is not tarnished, I guess you would say. And we live in a world where, in all facets of life, sometimes people, feel that their service or whatever their lot in life is and stuff doesn't measure up. Okay. You're always looking for admiration of individuals or things like that. So we're talking about the subject when it comes into the military world of stolen valor, which is the fabrication of military record to portray service that was a little bit more than what we actually accomplished or what we provided in uniform. I always joke when I go out there. I said I was an airman. I dealt with paper cuts. I was lucky if it's just once
Come
again.
on, Bob, you were a wrench turner.
I was a wrench spinner and stuff.
Cuts,
because you're in the Air Force and they have immediately F4 Phantoms and things like that. I said no, I was the guy out on the runway at the GCA unit trying to make sure the air conditioning unit was working. So there's nothing heroic about that. But like Dennis said here, even during my time period, I went in right at the end of Vietnam War, and I was stationed all stateside. I never went overseas, but I was at a point with the wild weasels and those guys that came back, and I was with the guys that actually flew combat over North Vietnam, and those were the heroes to me, and I looked up and emulate that, and I was always kind of wondering, why somebody would want to, embellish, a record, to say that they'd done something like that when, we have to be happy with our service to our country. We gave 4 years of our lives or 2 years or whatever it was. Sure. We made that conscious decision. Mm-hmm. Every one of you guys here and people out there know that you can be a lowly cook and still be called upon to do heroic deeds.
That's right.
I've always said that the most important medal we got was that Firewatch ribbon.
Mm-hmm.
The one where you raised your hand and said, yes, I will defend the Constitution of the United States against enemies, foreign and domestic.
Yes, yeah.
Right? So that puts you right there, out there where you were vulnerable to all sorts of things, all kinds of duty and abuse.
Yes.
And so that changes everything from the civilian world to the military world, and then the other decorations come later.
Sure.
But that one is the one where you raised your hand, and that separates you from the other group.
Yeah.
So, and to be proud of that, that you're willing to serve.
We were over at Coffee for Veterans about an hour ago,
mm-hmm.
and Congressman Steve Knight was awarding medals that had never been bestowed. They were on the DD-214, the military records of Art Ray,
mm-hmm.
Navy sailor. And Art was on the USS Quincy during World War II.
Mm-hmm.
So his service ribbons were the Africa, Middle East, Europe campaign ribbon, the Pacific campaign ribbon, the occupation of Japan ribbon, and the World War II Victory Medal.
Yeah.
Now, the point of all that is, Art was a sailor, and the USS Quincy took Roosevelt toward Yalta, and he was at Tokyo Bay. They were the I was there ribbons.
Yes, yeah.
And he would not tell you that he did anything other than his duty. But boy, what a spread of duty that was.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It was great to see it recognized. Art's 91, I think, 92. Mm-hmm. He went in when he was 17.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's the opposite of stolen valor, is valor unclaimed.
Valor unclaimed.
Valor unclaimed, absolutely.
Yeah, they came in the Cracker Jack. It's what those guys.
Yeah, that's the line that
came
used.
in the baggie.
Yeah. You, as you got, especially you combat vets here, the Band of Brothers, there was a segment there where there was an individual that had received multiple Purple Hearts, and there was a scene in the medical tent there where the press was there, and they were awarding this guy like his third or fourth Purple Heart, and next to him, in the bed next to him, was a soldier that had lost his life, and said, we felt that this was unfair because he only gets one. This isn't a contest. And stuff. Once you've received the first, all the rest of them after that point.
And in that same movie, there was some tension between a new guy in the unit that was wearing the unit citation that other men earned.
Yes.
In real time.
Yes.
And he earned it as just a member of the unit. I
Yes.
wore a unit citation. I didn't even know what it was for.
Right.
But there was that tension. So there was that.
So the other guy shamed him,
Right.
but the point of it was all his other brothers came in and said, he's in the unit now. He's
Yeah.
one of us.
Yes.
So
It is a unit decoration, but there's that kind of tension even amongst
Yeah.
the brothers.
Yeah. I think in the military, water seeks its level, I guess is what we would say. When it goes out into the civilian world, that's when things start getting muddied. Sometimes when things happen like that, and you kind of, once again, you guys can give me your take on it. When you stand in front of a guy that has actually earned those rights and stuff, it's hard for me to understand the mindset of people that say like, well, I want to put myself on that same level. Yeah. So.
Well, it's there's that archetype of the hero that people want to align with, and most oftentimes people who really deserve those medals are the last ones to claim them. Yeah. They were just doing their job. When you hear those kind of stories, they're probably the most accurate. Feeling undeserving of the Purple Heart because they weren't catastrophically wounded. They just had a few bullet holes in them, that kind of thing. It's remarkable. But there is that desire to be amongst those heroes, I think. It's kind of embarrassing when I run into it. That's how I feel about it. It's especially when you know that the person wasn't old enough to be in Vietnam, or gets the story wrong, and it's very clumsy and awkward.
Yeah, it is. And you kind of wonder sometimes with the. I had a friend who served in Gulf Desert Storm, and they were handing out citations and medals over there. I think a little bit more. It's been a while or whatever. And of course, he got his thumb smashed in a tank, whatever, and he was issued Purple Heart because it was in a war zone. Yeah, okay, and stuff. And he was one of those guys. He says like, they gave it to me, but it's in my drawer in my desk. I go, that was nothing, So anyway, we need to take a break here. We come back. We're going to get into a little bit of the politics of stolen valor, and we'll kind of tiptoe through that tulip patch and see what we can come make of that. So we'll be right back here at AV Veterans Talk here at Aerotech News. Thank you for joining us for this installment of AV Veterans Talk here at Aerotech News.